Hey guys, welcome to Base Damage. It is me, Joe Schmo. I am joined by
Matt,
Kool-Aid,
Egg Ball, and this podcast comes out at a very awkward time for most people, which was created by the industry just to sell cards. It's
greeting cards, not actual trading cards, but I guess that works
gotta
too.
be specific.
Well, yeah,
It's a card either way.
I mean, if you're dating someone who's into that, you can do that, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, we're talking about Valentine's Day.
I'm sorry, did you say Singles Awareness Day?
What?
Woohoo!
Yeah, so, anywho.
And I would like to point out, I had a very special day set aside for this, but then it got pushed back to April when Persona. Actually, wow, I'm actually turned up. Oh god. Alright.
Quit being a bitch.
Wow,
Also, you guys are really missing out. He's got a lot of eloquent hand gestures going on since the start of this podcast.
Yeah, an actual video would have been perfect for this.
Yeah.
Anywho.
But yes, I know a bunch of us were ready for Valentine's Day because that's when
Persona 5 was supposed to drop. the tears are making it so you're unable to speak. So.
Oh my god!
But it's like Atlas. It's like Atlas was deceiving you. It's like they cheated on you, right?
Which leads us to our topic. Because Valentine's Day is also a day you can find out if your loved one's cheating on you. Which brings us to card games.
Exactly.
All right.
Wow, what a complicated segue.
Basically, it was overtly complicated segue, but basically, I talked to Kyle, Joe about this a while back, and was like, we could easily make a multi-part podcast on just the topic of cheating and or public knowledge, rules, stuff like that.
Card game etiquette.
Card game etiquette, yeah.
It's an umbrella term.
Plus, it has been a long time since we've done a
non-set discussion-based thing.
So.
But that admittedly gave us so much content, I didn't care.
So I mean, content's content, but every once in a while, it's okay if you want to.
You got to break away from the norm and do something new.
Agreed.
These are fun.
And this will be just as fun. This will be just as insane because I personally could talk about this for a long time.
Yeah.
And to get everybody's input on it is going to be super duper awesome. Before we get into that, though, we do have a couple of announcements.
Before we do
Was it?
Disclaimer for rest of the videos. This comes out before the tournament's done.
Oh, so that's what I'm bringing up. That's one of the announcements I'm bringing up.
That's what I say. This is coming out, so if we talk about... We
would only talk about that anyway. So the tournament is underway, like I was leading into, Joe. The tournament that we're posting up on the channel. The first match has been posted at the time of this video. The second match will be posted this week, which is Timmy versus Mr. Dead Sea.
Hey guys, I'm gonna apologize because
no need to, dude. It's whatever.
I'm just saying.
If he wants to kill you,
go ahead.
I'm gonna go ahead and apologize for the scoop, but I did explain myself. And after I think we stopped the video, we did check like the next 20 cards off the top of my deck. It was all gonna stick. I was not gonna stop any of the damage that was coming.
Nothing else.
Shut up, Nico.
If it compensates the fact of we had already recorded the first two matches before we ever posted the video stating this is the tournament we're doing. This is the giveaway. Those were already pre-recorded by the time that video where you could vote came out.
Yeah.
To which the following week we recorded the finals, but that's whatever. So by the time people were putting in their votes and I'm looking up this and I'm writing down everybody's votes, I'm going, holy fuck, everyone's voting for Matt and we already know he's lost.
I get a text message while I'm at work and he's like, just so you know, you have like 15 votes. And I'm like, fuck.
God damn it, Bob.
You got, all your votes came in almost immediately first.
I'm sure. Well,
Joe got some. So
you guys
he was happy.
You guys will see when the deck profile finally gets posted for that deck. I don't run the top tier shit, so thank you all for assuming.
Yeah,
thank you assuming.
Thanks for the vote of confidence, guys.
Yeah, it's whatever, but at the same time, anything can happen in Weiss Schwarz.
True.
Just straight up.
Yeah,
so,
boats and jank.
Boats and jank.
Wait, what?
They said boats and jank.
Yeah, boats and jank.
Anywho.
Boat privilege.
Actually,
Hashtag
someone
boat
specifically did say hashtag boat privilege when they voted for me.
God damn.
Points to you, dude.
Points to that dude straight up.
That's awesome.
Let's see.
Fucking A.
But let's see. What any other announcements from anyone else in here as of before I continue in?
It's been a while since we've done a regionals announcement. You got one of those?
No, regionals hasn't started up yet for 2017.
That's right.
Well, I guess leading into that, they did announce that the spring circuit will start in March. So around late March, probably early April, we'll have regional information. AOT won Worlds,
Nice.
if I'm not mistaken. I had to remember. I had to look at it up again.
Core or
Core
It was
AOT,
Core.
yeah.
It was Core.
Not your Blue Booty Titans. So,
Blue Booty Titan.
so anywho.
BBT.
But in regards to that, there's actually some new rules that Bushiroad had put into place. Yes, I heard the fart. Anywho,
Oh God.
one of the things that kind of brought this up and kind of got me wanting to talk about this anyway was the fact that some rules were getting posted around that, not so much posted around, but it was talk of these rules that had been posted. And Bushiroad's like, okay, we're enforcing these rules. Couple of them being the bigger one. Let's see. Separating cards in the deck while searching, organizing cards in the waiting room. That was probably the bigger one. There are people I've seen who would say they're going to change into a level 3 or a level 2 or whatever. As Joe raises his hand for
Guilty fucker.
but would place that on top of the waiting room to remind themselves that they needed to change when the time came up, whether it was at the beginning of the encore step, beginning of climax phase, whatever. You look like you had something to say.
Well, no,
No, you're good. That was the bigger one, so I wanted to get y'all's thoughts on that.
I mean, there's also people that do it to keep track of the amount of climaxes in their waiting room.
That was a problem. People would stack all the climaxes on the bottom of the waiting room.
Yeah.
Like all 6, 7, however many was in there.
Which is cool, except for when you go to refresh, if you're smart about how you do it, you can place them all directly on top of your deck and go, well, I'm not
That's
gonna take,
cheat. That's called stacking.
I'm not going to take damage for 2.5 turns.
Yeah. Let's see.
Remember, kids, always cut and tap your opponent's deck.
Always, like just straight up.
And, yeah, cut that motherfucker.
I was used to that with Yu-Gi-Oh! And
Yeah.
MTG already. Yu-Gi-Oh! Already had a thing of graveyard tampering,
Yeah.
quote unquote. That's a rule that's been in place since I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Years ago.
Well,
so
plus
I get
Yu-Gi-Oh's community will do that sort of shit on purpose. To
no.
get unfair
There was
advantage.
actual cards. In specific, there was a spell card called Question
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
that specifically states your opponent has to name a creature card, a monster card, and if that name
Is the last
is
one?
the last one on the bottom of your opponent's graveyard, nothing happens. If they guess wrong, it gets summoned.
Yeah.
So
Shuffle your graveyard, put your best shit on the bottom, and then laugh while they try to wreck their brain for it.
but that's kind of what got started. But then once again, the thing of stacking cards, the thing of a lot of other bullshit kind of came into play. What, you look like you're pondering something, Joe.
No, I'm thinking about something for a personal project. Don't worry.
Personal project?
Personal project.
Any shameless plugs?
No, not that from our channel. Personal outside with Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh, gotcha.
I might start running Question out of nowhere.
People don't run it anymore. That's the thing. So you could. I mean, it's an old ass card, but that's whatever. I may have a copy laying around. Anyway, but because of that, I was already used to that. Like coming into Weiss Schwarz, I never touched my fucking waiting room unless I didn't arrange them. I'm saying.
Yeah.
I still touched it to check public knowledge, obviously, which you can always do, but that's whatever. Let's see.
Now, let me bring up this.
Go for
okay,
it.
so let's give this scenario. You have 4 cards left in deck. Your waiting room is pretty much your whole deck.
Yeah.
There's a couple cards in stock, whatever.
Okay.
What do you guys think when someone there know they're going to go through those 4 cards, so they preemptively shuffle?
I mean, that shouldn't be done on in locals. It's whatever. It depends on what the other person says. If your opponent, if you ask your opponent, hey, I know you're about to swing for a fuck ton of damage. Do you care if I go ahead and, or like if it's the last card of the deck? I won't even say 4 cards left in deck, but the last card. If you say, I know you're about to swing for damage. Do you care if I go? I would say ask your opponent if it's in locals. Regionals, don't do it. Just straight up don't do it. They will fucking call you in a second, probably.
Don't touch that shit until you're supposed to.
Yeah.
Follow all rules to the T.
Local. I mean, I guess you should practice in locals what you would do for regionals if you plan to go to regionals.
You get yourself in the habit.
Agreed. Yeah.
Because if you don't do it in locals, it's going to become a force of habit, and then you're going to do it in regionals and get your ass kicked.
Yeah.
That's actually.
Yeah.
You play the card games the least, and that's probably some of the truest shit that could be said at this point.
Which is like,
I mean, the more you do something, the more habitual it becomes. So it becomes part of your routine.
It's the fact that you have not been playing as long, but you have that insight already. It makes me proud, bro. Just makes me proud. Huggles. Okay.
Also, that's like just like we started with the when we roll the die, whoever gets highest goes first. Period.
I was so used to whoever wins that gets to pick
Yeah,
in
I know.
Yu-Gi-Oh. So I didn't realize when you did that for Weiss, it's whoever wins has to go
Yeah.
first, straight up.
Which that was completely one of those things that we were like, what? Okay, sure, whatever.
Like it was an easy thing to change, but
Yeah.
it's just that's what we should have been doing the whole
Yeah.
fucking time.
Oh yeah, big time.
But yeah, to answer your, that's my opinion. Ask if it's in locals. Ask your opponent.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it. Like I said, don't touch that shit until you're supposed to. It would, I've seen people do it here without asking, and it annoys me. I'm not gonna make a big shit. I'm not gonna have a shit fit about it.
Well, I'm
but-
sorry.
Well, I wasn't even calling out anybody.
Well, no, because my thing is, especially when I'm changing, I usually go, okay, I'm about to do this. So I put it on top first, or I look to see if I have
You
it.
would, because now that you know the rules. Yeah. Anyway, continue. I'm sorry.
But I would look, see, okay, I got this. Okay, let me do this. Da-da-da-da-da.
I mean,
Put this
that
back on
helps
top, then.
because I'm also known for forgetting my change targets or forgetting what to clock. Like earlier today, I forgot to clock something I was supposed to clock, and
Well, that's just whatever. I mean, that's something,
Well, I mean, when
I know.
you're running,
I think I know what you're talking
yeah,
about.
when
You
you're
forgot
running
to clock a
stuff
heavy
and your
maker.
experience effects need particular cards, you clock the right shit or you fucked up.
Now, I
Yeah.
would like to apologize because I feel like I did it in our match, because now it's known to the world.
All's fine.
And the next match
I
later
found
on,
this was pointed out to me, and I completely forgot it, even though this happens.
the trigger.
The gold bar, is that what you're going into?
Well, no, I was about to mention that too.
Go ahead.
Because I feel like during the last, like, on the finals, because everyone knows I go, I think I messed around with my waiting room once or twice, because I was sitting there looking through, seeing what's going on.
Okay, like, nobody's pointed that out to me
Well,
yet, so.
I'm just saying, I'm not sure if it is. Sorry. And then when it comes to Nico's gold bar, we didn't know it was mandatory.
No, I did. I completely forgot about it.
Well,
I
didn't know.
I run Kandai that has it, SAO that has it. I have like 4 decks that have a fucking gold bar at this point, and I forgot it.
Because I feel like someone's going to bring up, well, he cheated because he did. I just want to cover all bases. I didn't know. I went how I've always been playing, and
Yeah.
no one's brought it up until now.
I pointed out to him. He's like, "Oh fuck, for real?" So
And I've been doing that nonstop. So
I mean, it's now that you know.
well, that's what I'm talking
you're good
about.
for next
Since
time.
I learned, I already started taking.
Usually in these sort of situations, what we say is, did anyone call you on it? No. Well, then they should have RTFC.
Agreed. That's kind
Well,
of
that's more of read the rules than.
Yeah.
not the rules. That's reading the
Read the
cards.
cards.
It is written on the card that
If
way.
you actually do say it does state when this card triggers, send this card to your hand. That's mandatory. The blind stock off the effect is optional.
Oh, I
But-
just can't read then. I'm illiterate. All right.
Well, we knew that. I'm just kidding.
As I'm writing my freaking college thesis outside, thank you.
That's
Yes.
that's
by
what auto.
talking
Damn!
into a microphone.
I haven't even talked since we've been here, besides that one little
You're
section.
right. You're right.
Because I just wanted to show off on how crappy it was.
So yeah. But fuck. What was it just said? RTFC. RTFC. Okay.
Not a more important bit of anything has been said about a card game.
R-
RTFC is a
read-
universal rule of card games.
RTFC. Read the fucking
Fucking
card.
card.
Straight up.
When in doubt, RTFC.
Yes.
Yeah. That's something that I have had to do. Yugi Man is another very good example of this.
Now that it's gotten all combo heavy.
Well, that's whatever. I mean, I'm sure I had that rant about Ritual Beast with
All
you
the way up
all the
here.
way up here. But that's whatever. Talking about a lot of times when I would play in Yu-Gi-Oh, I would drop a card down, and before I could even say the fucking effect, people would say, "What's that do?
Yeah.
What's that card do?"
I've had the
I'm
same
about to
thing.
fucking tell. I literally would say to people's faces, "I'm about to fucking tell you, shut the hell up, or read it your fucking
I
self."
feel like I know who specifically who you're talking about.
No, this was
What is
here
problem?
at the card shop in Bailey.
Yeah,
I've
I'm
had the
talking
same
about
thing
here.
happen in Magic though.
I need more than 2 hands to count how many people have done that.
I just had one specifically in mind, but he's banned from the source, so it doesn't matter.
That too. Well, he's whatever. Actually, he's kind of another thing to talk about. I'll get back to RTFC in a second. I apologize for tangents, but that's whatever.
I mean, it's not technically a tangent if it's
I feel like that's what this-
if it's
It's-
part of the material
well,
we were going to.
Okay, actually, I'll finish talking about the RTFC thing. I would talk to people who would try to tell me, I would try to say, or they'll play a card and they would go to explain what the card does, and I'll have read the card and go, "I'm sorry, sir, you're incorrect." And, what? No, it says such and such, or it'll say
That's true.
something completely different. And they're like, "No, it doesn't." I'm like, "Did you read your own card?"
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, you realize you were trying to cheat by telling me the wrong effect. So even though I knew what the effect was, if I didn't at the time, if I did not read it, I was just trusting in my opponent at that point, could have cost me the game.
Yeah.
Not that, card games is life, or
Oh,
is
yeah.
it?
Well,
you know.
that's why every time someone starts doing some crazy bullshit, I'm like, okay, now that you're doing this stuff that sounds way too unheard of, let me scoop this card over here and read it. Because a lot of the times I will trust my opponent, but when they go, I'm going to do this, and then I do all this crazy bullshit, I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Okay, first of all,
That's
no.
one thing Mike would do when people would try to explain the cards to him. He didn't listen to them. He would actually, hi, how's it
Oh,
going?
thank you for the
Food delivery.
Thank you.
Random food delivery.
He would instead of listening to their explanation, he would start reading the card out loud.
Hold on, I'll be right back.
Oh my God, Kyle!
Well, I'm sorry. Here's my credit card.
Hey, it's important, man.
It is very important.
You
When
can't
it
walk
comes to
around without
money,
all your
There's
money
a
in
lot
it.
of money on that. Joe will
Anywho,
be right back.
Joe will be right back. So temporary loss of a
Member.
of a Joe Schmo.
Joe's out to lunch. Eat at Joe's.
Yeah, I know, right? My buddy Mike would start reading the card out loud to literally drown out what his opponent was trying to, whatever bullshit the opponent was trying to feed them.
Yeah, because that's yet again the Yu-Gi-Oh community. You don't want to hear their bullshit. You're gonna read the card.
Yeah, he would literally, instead of just reading it in his head, he would read the card out loud. That's whatever.
He did that to me once and it pissed me off.
That's whatever. Oh wait, you got a Joe Schmo back again. Everything cool?
Yeah, I don't want to put my ass in your face.
Oh, well.
Make that booty clap.
Well, shit happens.
Haha.
Anyway, sorry about that.
It's all good. As he
In the
proceeds to,
I'm not gonna
Stuff
stuff
is
okay,
nice.
well, drinks, whatever. Okay, the other thing I was going into, the person you specifically brought up, I will not bring up names because I have, there's several people I can say this for. Going into the card game edited, this actually can help a lot from preventing your opponent from cheating is asking how many cards are in your opponent's hand. There's no reason to do it every 10 fucking seconds like some people do. No, for real. I've had people do that and like not even
I want to know who
A
you're talking
turn-
about, but I got you.
Okay.
there's too many people for that to list. The reason I asked about hand size limit, asking how many cards are in your opponent's hand,
Well, you
is
can-
because I've known people who pulled Bandit Keith style and pulled
Yeah.
cards out of their pocket and add cards.
Ooh, look at
Oh, I'm
this.
sorry, I drew an extra card.
Yeah,
you know.
they clock for 3.
We knew a
I've
kid.
watched a man do that.
Well, that's not. I'm talking. This is still going back to Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
whatever.
I was going to say,
Yet
I'm going to
again-
go on a card fight tangent after you're done your Yu-Gi-Oh tangent.
The Yu-Gi-Oh,
Oh,
Yu-Gi-Oh
okay.
community.
Um,
We're not even gonna go there.
That's whatever. Well, I actually do want to give an explanation of this and how I handled this. We knew the dude was shifty as fuck and would cheat prior. So I purposely did that. Was beginning of turn or before turn started, I'd say he had gone first. He had drawn. He had done his card effects, and he ended turn. And when I drew, I'm like, okay, cool. Number of cards in your hand, and he had more cards in hand than he was able to have obtained during his turn. He was over by 1, so he had snuck it in. I knew what the card was afterwards, but I ain't gonna worry about that. So I figured that's what had happened. I said, well, bro, it looks like you drew an extra card. That's cool. We can, and we handled the situation. I didn't try to go, judge, he's cheating.
Yeah.
Which is what a lot of people will just straight do. They find out you're doing that in regionals, you're gonna get judge called on you, and you're gonna get fucking DQ'd in a second.
Out, yeah.
To which afterwards, I beat the kid's ass. 1, you ain't gonna cheat on me and without getting your ass handed to you.
You're not gonna cheat on me.
And
Make it sound like you were dating.
it's the whole P5 thing again, right? Atlas gonna learn.
You're going to learn today, boys.
I had gone up and told the people here at the card shop running it is like, look, I can't confirm it. I don't want to try to, but I think this person
Same
was
guy?
cheating. I'll say a name later when we're not recording, but you have a Vanguard tangent. Go for
Okay,
it.
yes. All right. So this guy, he literally every time. Okay, so card fight hand is essential. It's not like Weiss where I need cards in hand.
Yeah.
But for Vanguard, you use cards from hand to guard and protect yourself. Yourself because we're only up to go up to 6 damage. So this guy, he
As opposed to 28.
yeah exactly.
So
he always tried to annoy you to a point where you try to not pay attention. So he sneaks the card to his hand. Like we caught him doing it, and we called him out on it, and he tried to deny it. There's a lot of BS behind it. So, say he's playing for all these people who are out there. He's playing Deleters, and I'm playing Shangri-La. It's the same example.
No, okay. For those who have not played it, try
Okay,
to
so
keep it
the-
as simplistic as possible.
Okay, so say he's playing the good guys, and I'm playing the bad guys.
Okay, that
let's-
works.
Let's do that. Let's change the variant up. He has 5 cards in hand, and I had 3. I took my turn. I got 1 damage off. And he kept asking me how many cards in hand, annoying me. So when I finally answered him, he drew 2, trying to sneak in some extra card advantage. Because for his, he can get rid of stuff on my field and give him bonus. So by cheating with card advantage in your hand, you can essentially win when you do that. And then he tried to stack another time because I think there's like a pile shuffle if you do like a certain amount of piles.
That's another thing that was brought up for the rules, but go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it's like 7 piles 3 times. You can stack it up the way you wanted to, I believe. I heard this a while back.
Face down. No, you really can't. For that, you really can't do it for any card game. I've seen people who would try to. They have a deck sorted and they would try to. Like for Yu-Gi-Oh, I knew people who would do that. They'd separate out into monster, spell, trap, and would try to go, monster, spell, trap, monster, spell, trap, to try to shuffle and get it as diverse as possible. They would do that at the beginning of like a match or the beginning of the tournament or whatever, and just try to keep it as straight as possible. To which people would immediately follow up with a 2-pile shuffle, which was just 1 2 1 2 1 2 back and forth, and completely disrupt that, completely and totally. And I'm sitting there going, well, fuck, bro, you spent all that time power shuffling for nothing. So
as someone who plays Magic, I can also say that since lands are what you need to play cards, I've done it myself. I used to do it a lot. I've do it a lot less now because it really is cheating. But I would go, creature, sorcery, land, creature, instant land, creature, sorcery, land, that sort of thing, and then stack it up, and then you play a guy who's playing a mill deck, and he just wrecks you because all your shit is evenly stacked, and you never draw any goddamn lands. So ever since then, I've never done it since. But
all right.
I mean, some people will do it, if they're like deck teching and they lay all their cards out, sure, but that's why you always make sure you shuffle your opponent's deck.
Yeah.
It saves a lot of trouble.
You should always do that, absolutely. There's one of the other, I completely forgot to mention, one of the other rules was the pile shuffling, where not just, I said 1 2 1 2, but there's also where some people would shuffle like 4 or 5 piles at one time. Apparently that was taking up taking up too much time.
Yeah.
2, excessive as fuck.
Yeah.
And people said you could do it at the beginning of the match, before, people say start the round, and that's it. That is also the rule has been instituted. Not like, I reverse with Shimakaze, I go to search, here, cut tap, and they go 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5, and pile shuffle like that. You can't do that no more. Like middle of the fucking match, you can't do that no more. So
that's why cut or tap is usually the best way to do it.
So, yeah. Let's see.
Sorry, guys. Dungeons and Dragons are playing right beside us.
That's whatever. I don't even know if that can be picked up. One of the other, also shuffling a certain way, going back to the thing of taking up too much time. I want to get y'all's opinion on this. Do you consider slow playing cheating?
Now,
on purpose, if you know that they are slow playing on purpose, do you consider that cheating?
If they go from, we're doing this fast, like level 1, like 0 and 1, we go pretty fast. All of a sudden, it's just like
takes 10 minutes to lay one fucking card down.
Then yes, I would say, especially if we're getting timed. See, here at our locals, we're not really timed because they like us and they know us, so we get our stuff done when we get it done.
Yeah.
But if you're doing that in a tournament set, I completely call that BS and cheating. Because isn't it a tournament rule, and whoever has the less damage would win at the end of it?
Which in Weiss is way different than
exactly.
it would be in any other card game.
Admittedly, Weiss has the advantage of it's just one game.
Yeah.
Think of, I hate to keep bringing back up Yu-Gi-Oh! As examples, but that's where you're going to get a majority of my examples from, and I apologize.
Well, that's where you play the most tournaments.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Best 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
So
their time is also
those are oh fuck, what was it, 40 minutes? I haven't played a Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament in a couple months now.
Something like that. It's like 40 minutes.
It's like 40 minutes, yeah. So there are people who would, I mean, not even like doing a card, every 10 minutes. I shouldn't say that as an example. That was an over-exaggeration, but whatever.
You get the point.
Yeah. I've seen people who would purposely, do the same thing of, oh, was that due? And would draw out the time by having their opponent try to explain an effect over and over and over.
Or you can watch them what the exact same card effect is every turn.
I can't tell you how many times that's happened. Yeah. That's whatever. That's a gripe. That's not. I don't see that as cheating.
That's another way I've seen people
safety
fall out though.
Yeah.
God, that was instant.
Yeah, I know, right? Safety. I apologize. It just hasn't hit Matt yet. Anywho,
Trash Panda mode activated.
but say for that I shouldn't just say Yu-Gi-Oh. Say if it's MTG is best 2 out of 3 if I'm not mistaken as well.
I think so.
Any game that has a side deck is usually best 2 out of 3. Usually. Thank goodness there's no fucking side decking in Weiss Schwarz. I am so
Card Fight's best 2 out of 3, but we don't have a.
There's no side deck for that? I did not know that,
Well,
actually.
technically, if you want to get technical, there is one, and it's the Stride Zone now. If you want to get technical, it's another form of.
Well, I mean, like, no, changing out your main deck in between.
Oh, no,
rounds.
that's
No, that's what I mean.
As far as I know of, or there might be, I'm not sure, but I haven't seen any here.
Okay,
Or
but
I've
I
come across any.
know Force does it, MTG does it, and obviously Yu-Gi-Oh.
Don't hold me to it.
I know, right?
People tend to do that.
It's all good. Where they'd take a long time side decking, they take a long time doing whatever, and by the time that the round would end, there's usually a set number of turns each player has, or it's whoever draws first blood. It depends on the card game. I've seen it happen in both.
Well, both of those are way easier than actually killing your opponent.
Exactly, but it takes up I've seen matches like that take like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
A 40-minute game should not take an hour and a fucking half.
That's true, because I was here when it happened. I was here with you. You would end your Yu-Gi-Oh matches in like 15 minutes, because I don't remember what you were running, but you were just wrecking folk.
Oh, that was your Sinju.
And there was literally a time that we were sitting there waiting for the next round to end, and it was 2 guys that were playing the exact same deck, and it was literally almost 2 hours before they played their one match.
Yeah. And
actually, it was one game, and it was like, Jesus Christ, guy.
the store closed. The store closes at 10. We didn't get out till 11, and that's because Harry said, "I'm not even doing the last round."
Yeah.
Fuck it. We're gonna do standings right now. Y'all took too fucking long.
Yeah, it was.
I want to go home. Is literally what he said.
It was bullshit.
So, Okay, so solo playing on purpose, cheating or not? I say yes.
Big time.
I say yes as well.
Especially in time.
So especially, not even in time, especially to bring it down to time, quote unquote.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if time is an aspect, then yes, because not only are you shitting your opponent, and you're playing another strategy because that changes the way the game is played completely, but you're also fucking everyone else who's in the tournament.
Yeah.
Which makes you a really, a piece of shit.
It doesn't bother me as much in regionals because you can ask for a time extension from the judge.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
That's fine. Especially if you have to call a judge over, and it takes them a second to get over there and explain this is why this can or cannot happen and why you are a fucking idiot. So, that I can understand, but they can give you time extensions on that, whether it's a couple minutes or whatever. So, yeah. Before I could just keep throwing shit down here, but is there anything else people wanted to add to the conversation? Go ahead. I know you haven't talked that much, 8 Ball. I apologize.
I mean, I haven't personally seen too many instances of cheating, but then again, I haven't really been in this game that long.
Okay.
What about accidental? So, like, for some people who don't know all the rules and all that, but they go to the regionals for the first time.
Proving whether it's an accident or not is another issue, to which there's usually zero tolerance in a regionals.
Yeah, it's really hard to do.
Then
You
let's
can't just say to the judge, I didn't know. I say, well, too bad.
Like, you're here, so tough shit.
Ignorance of the law.
Let's bring that back to locals.
Okay.
Because of course we got the new people coming in, so we don't even want to talk about them because they're learning.
Well, someone who's just straight up learning, they're obviously going to tell you, I've played this game for 2 minutes. You know.
Well, I mean, this is one thing that happens in every game. You ever been playing and go, oh crap, I forgot to clock, so I'm not actually in level 3, or oh crap, I know exactly what you're doing because I did the same thing in the match against you. We both screwed that up.
I was just about to bring that up.
It happens all the time.
To me, that depends if it's optional or not. Mandatory effects that you just forget usually depends on how far the game state's gone. But go ahead with whatever you're.
Oh no, I was going to say, if there's to a point where they're either going to be doing it by accident, so if it keeps happening like every.
If it keeps happening over
like
and
for,
over,
if it's not the same thing but different things, but it's like happens every single time you guys play against each other. There's something going on there, and he's trying to take advantage of that. Whereas if it's like 1 or 2 times, oh my bad, okay, it's fixed.
Yeah, it depends on the person and depends on, like you said, how often it's happened. I'll usually give a grace period for a couple times.
Sure, but when they try to wear it like noob armor for like. The first
it's been
6
3
months.
years.
The first 6 months of them playing a game, when they used noob armor for 6 months, it's just like, no.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to let you do what you were planning to do. You're past that point.
I'll give you 2 weeks, and after that, you either need to read your goddamn rule book or go away.
I hate to say, Matt, I've probably done that to you a bunch.
You have. Well, I'm also the one dude that questions what you're doing while you're doing it. I know that.
Bro, why are you doing this? Why? Oh, but you can't do such a or you're not gonna be able to get over these. Fuck you, climax combos. And just
Yeah.
I know what I do.
I've gotten better about shutting the fuck up about that.
Yeah. Now, when it actually all gets said and done, you'd be like, okay.
Never mind, you're good. I'm gonna shut the fuck up now.
So, anyway, there's food
timed
sitting
it wrong,
right in
Brett.
front of Joe.
It's killing him.
Well, I've got food over here too, so if I can't eat, you can't eat.
And out of sight, potentially out of mind.
No, it ain't.
Drink
out
is
of mine.
whatever. We've had drinks in here forever, so we're all because it's only fair.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's only fair. I'm taking Matt's as well.
That's cool. So when we get done, you'll hand him his chips, and I can have the.
Yes, exactly.
This is what you
Yeah,
had,
buddy.
buddy. This is what you had. Trash panda mode.
Talking about cheating.
Mode activate.
Yeah. So sure, like, if they just straight say this is the first tournament I've ever played in, I'll cut them some slack.
Sure.
If it keeps happening, sure. Now the other problem is mandatory versus optional
Yeah.
effects.
Sorry, bro. This has got to happen this way. So even if you didn't know, that's what the card says.
Yeah.
RTSC.
Like gold bar triggers. Sorry, bro.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't.
It's
know
fixed now, so
It's fixed now.
I didn't know either, so that's.
I've actually taken advantage of that with an optional thing one time. I didn't know if the next... I did a gold bar trigger, and because the blind stock is optional, I'm like, I have enough stock right now for my next turn. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to blind stock. I did that because I knew about how many
I've got about 8
climaxes were
cards
left
in
in the
here.
deck.
I've got about 3 climaxes. I don't want to risk it.
Exactly. It turns out, when my opponent attacked the next turn, it was a climax. So I'm like, yes! Pro plays for days. But go ahead. Were you have anything else on that tangent, good sir?
Well, no, it's just to a point you can tell if they're doing it on purpose, and you can tell when they're not doing it. It's just like what Matt said. He pretty much covered it. If they're wearing that new barber for a little bit too long, they're just trying to cheat. And
Yeah. Okay. So. Yeah. Let's see. What else do we have on the thing? Sorry, kind of looking over my notes here because oh
did we
goodness.
cover everything? Like
No, I still have some. Actually,
no.
because note taking. I would in playing MTG, actually this would happen in Yu-Gi-Oh as well. One of the classic combos from classic cards to say from MTG. If you're playing black, you run duress. If whoever doesn't know what that does, is
Actually,
a card.
this is a big one because I've had people fuck me on this all day
Yes,
long.
there is it's a spell card in Magic that states you can look at your opponent's hand and discard a particular type of card from it. I knew people who would, especially if it was like a big money tournament, would play this card and they would have a notepad for for keeping track of life instead of just doing like the countdown D20s, whatever. Because in MTG it's 20 life and there's like special little dice that you could just turn it one way and it was the next number, which is really cool, really nice. But they would have a piece of paper to keep track of life. I kind of count that a little bit better. I see that keeping track a little bit better because you never know when someone could accidentally dump a table for a dice.
That, and you can tell where you took your damage so someone can't bullshit you.
Agreed. So that's a really smart thing to do, really cool. Luckily, you don't have to do that for Weiss because of how the board's set up.
Actually, note taking in tournaments is allowed. You can, if you look at your
Hold
opponent's
up.
hand, you can write that shit down, which pisses me off.
No, that's what it is allowed for MTG.
Yeah.
And
Not for Weiss.
not for Weiss Schwarz, it is not allowed. Note taking like that, where they would play duress, they get to look at their opponent's hand, and they would sit there and on that paper, keeping track of life, write down the name of every single card that was in their opponent's hand. And as the game progressed, I saw him play this, I'm going to mark this out.
Yeah.
Okay, he played the next one, I'm going to mark this out, and we'll be able to tell when certain cards had or had not been played.
Here's one more thing. You were on the right. I thought you were on a certain different track. And this is something that needs to be explained in Magic because people will fuck you in Magic if they've been playing longer, or they think they've been playing longer than you, or they think they know what they're doing. But if I play a card that says your opponent discards a card, so let's say I'm not.
Okay. I know where you're going with that. We'll get to that in a second.
That's fine.
We'll get to that in a second.
1 second's up, dude.
5,000 more seconds.
Damn.
Anywho. And that was one of the other things that was brought up when I was playing, when we started playing Weiss Schwarz. Is I would take little dice to keep track of stat buffs.
Yeah.
You know, if it was just a 500 buff or a 1,000 buff or whatever on characters, and I would do that, not realizing that was note-taking, quote-unquote. Also because I didn't see but so many cards that said, look at your opponent's hand. I know like 4 off the top of my head, and that's it. and then someone who actually has played, because I'd only been playing for a couple months at that point, and someone who played in regionals, who has played competitively in regionals, they play competitive Contai, said, you can't do that, right? I'm like, what?
This is why I can't go to regionals, because I can't keep track of all that math in my head.
Because numbers suck.
That's whatever.
I'm bad for it.
I completely understand that. But when they specifically said the rule of it was no note taking,
yeah,
I'm like, what? This has been allowed since like day one of card games,
yeah.
So while I don't agree with it, I understand where they're coming from. It's whatever.
Well, I mean, I don't. Either way, when it comes to the hand thing, I'm kind of iffy about.
You mean looking at your opponent's hand?
Yeah, and then
if the card. Okay, you're talking about writing stuff down.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I was going off on that. I'm kind of iffy about that, but I personally haven't really come across that because everyone I play against is like, all right, you're good. They don't really take notes down; they just keep it. But for the dice thing, I kind of wish they had a different rolling for that because, like, in cases like Matt, you've got all these different things going about. And if you want to keep track of it, you're going to have to backtrack on everything you do to try to keep for that turn.
And it's nice when your opponent can end their turn and you can actually go, okay, let me look at your totals real quick, instead of people that don't go, okay, what's the total of this? And then they throw out a number, and then I'm sitting here trying to figure out where the fuck they got the number. So now I have to ask where they're getting their buffs. So now they have to explain to me all their global fives, all their other shit.
To which that kind of goes back into the whole potential slow playing is if you have to stop and say, how does if you purposely stop and say, hey, how does this getting to what power it is?
If you had a dice down there, we could not have to do this 3-minute conversation of you.
I've had to do that anyway, even having the dice. Even when I did have the dice.
That's true too.
See, like I was just about to say, like for that. So Nico, Happy Maker Nico gets +5 for all the characters. All right, have 2 global 5s in the back. All right.
That's easy. That's easy to keep track of.
Yeah, for me, I know some people it's still hard because Angelic Angel gives +5. Oh, I got to give a +15 to someone because I put a climax there, which gives another 1,000 and extra soul to everyone.
Well, something that's just happening for that turn is whatever.
But then you got to worry about the power that carries over, where it's just where some people are just like, yeah, how?
Like level 3 Titan that states keeps this power until the end of your opponent's next turn. Stuff like that.
And the We Are a Single Light Maki. You play the climax, it gets the 1,000 power until the end of the opponent's next turn.
If it's something like that, yeah.
And I was just say event cards do that too, because Nozomi's thing, I can't remember the freaking name now. Reveal a card, a music character. Okay, give 2 characters, you get plus 3,500.
I remember the event you're talking about. I just can't remember the name.
Was it
Graduation Day?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Don't worry about it.
But yeah, so cards like that you got to also take into effect, and which brings me up to another effect. Since you can't keep track of your waiting room.
Well, you can keep track of your waiting room because it's right fucking there.
Sometimes I'm guilty of putting graduation day to the side to remind myself every once.
Oh, you're talking about the buffs. Okay.
Because that brings up another thing. Okay, I got to go back through and this is why I get this because I hit the music card.
Yeah.
But you had to find the music card that you showed. I got this because I'm pretty sure by then it's long gone.
See, that's where I would think that, or say something happened and you refreshed and the card's supposed to go back into the deck too. I can understand. It's a little bit easier if that's like the very last thing you did before you start off attacks. You can have that sitting on the. You can have that as the last card being played on top of the waiting room. That's no problem at that point. I see where you're coming from because like keeping track of power levels would, that are not over 9,000. Sorry, cough. Keeping track of power levels like that to me should not be as much of a problem, and that would help. In that regard of, a character that keeps this amount until the end of your opponent's next turn. And then all of a sudden you conveniently forget that. Or not conveniently, but just so happen to forget it. And, I do, not saying I don't think this ever happens between me and you, but just say 2 people are doing that, and they go to attack, the person forgets for not knowing they're suiciding, forgets about it, their character's already reversed and in the waiting room, oh wait, she had this much power. It was technically already there from the last turn, thus 4th mandatory effect. You gotta call a judge at that point, and it's just too much bullshit to deal with. So, keeping track of power, I don't feel should be under the thing of note-taking. If you did the whole thing of, I played this combo that looks at your hand, okay. I can understand that Bushiroad doesn't want that. But like I said, they're so far few between.
Yeah. You're right.
It's fucking stupid. Oh my god. I don't agree with that ruling.
Well,
I'll agree with the no fucking with the waiting room. Agree with the no fucking pile shuffling. Or what's it where they like take the cards and try to like
bend it
and go in that way? I want to punch people in the goddamn face.
I have a friend who does it, and he doesn't. He goes and buys the cards online. It's for Yu-Gi-Oh specifically. Goes and buys all these fold out. And he's like, and I smack. I almost want to smack him. I almost jump across the table every time.
Oh
but he's like, it's okay. They're just cards. I can just go buy more. I'm like,
wow, you have a lot of money then.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh my god, just.
I can't say anything because I bought pretty much every, what was it, DX2 Volume 2 Love Live set.
I mean, that's fine because you were searching for
You have the cards, that's whatever.
Yeah.
We're talking like...
You're going to treat your cards good because you have them. You're not going to treat them like
not
shit
gonna,
and then just go buy more cards.
Like playing cards, like poker playing cards.
Yeah.
You're not going to just be like,
people do that in poker, that's whatever. I've also seen people do that where... now the card sleeves are all pointed in different directions. Mm-hmm. And I go, I'm sorry, would you please straighten your deck so there's all the card sleeves are facing the same way? And they look at me like I'm a fucking idiot. I'm like, no, I'm not having you cheat and know where all your fucking shit is. I don't give a fuck what you say. Straighten your deck out right now, or I will straighten it for you.
And then there are people that, you know, go and when they go to cut, when you hand them your deck to card tap, they try to fucking do that at your deck, and you're just like, get the fuck out of here.
I punched that. I literally...
I slapped a dude across the face for doing it.
Yeah.
It's just like, no. Been in my cards, get the fuck out of here. Yeah. I don't even want to play you now. You win. I don't care.
No.
Get out.
I would give him the pleasure of winning at that point. I'd say, no, we're finishing this right now. You dead.
But
so
that's the thing.
Anywho, this is actually going to be like a multi-part podcast. We're going to
have to be.
We're really. I have so many stories I could say.
Yeah.
But there's also so much material on this that we could potentially cover. Because I'm going to be trying to come up with some more stuff. I'm going to like check off certain stuff from my notes and whatnot. Are there any closing thoughts that you feel that need to be... I did stop you earlier, Matt. You were talking about the discarding thing. Go ahead and do that real
This
quick.
works in almost all card games. So double check your shit. Don't let people fuck you over. If you play a card, and I love the way they did this in Force because I actually read the rule book and they explained it. If you play a card, like let's say I play a card that makes your opponent discard a card. They've got 3 cards in hand. People in Magic, what they would do is they would play an instant, or like Duress is a good example because you make your opponent discard a card that is a non.
You did that, and you did. What was the one that you or like your opponent discards 2 cards of their choice? Was that him to Torok?
2 cards of their choice is Mind Rot. 2
Mind
cards
Rot,
that are not their choice is him to Torok.
Okay, so for Mind Rot, I understand where you were going with this, and that was people back in the day would go, "Oh, well, you played Mind Rot. I'm going to choose these 2 cards to be sent." And I'm going to chain both of them. I'm going to, not chain, well, chain's Yu-Gi-Oh term. Chase is Force term.
I'm going to choose these 2 instants, then I'm going to cast them in response to you trying to do that. No, because if you're going to cast them, your card is going to finish its effect, and then you're going to still have to discard 2.
Yeah, timing effect on that's different. What's up?
We know.
Gotcha, bro. We're about to finish up.
Sorry.
Thank you. In that regard, that cannot be done. I found out I actually am guilty because I did that early on. And I didn't realize that because other people had done that. And I'm like, oh, cool. Then someone explained to me, you realize that's as the card effect is resolving. And I'm like, oh, okay. So basically when you would play Mind Rot or whatever, on the play of it, before the effect resolves, before the effect goes to where I would have to discard cards, I'd have to chain right then and there.
Yeah. One thing you can do is say, you play Duress, so you have to drop an instant or sorcery, and then you chain the only instant in your hand. You can do that. That's perfectly fine.
That's legit.
Which is fine, because you're going to still use up resources that you didn't want to use right then, so I haven't really lost
It's like
effect.
Shock or Lightning Bolt, it's whatever. But that's whatever. Anyway, people who know those card names, you know what I'm talking about. We're not the MTG people. Go to Tier 1 TCG for that. I'm just saying.
I am an MTG person. We're not doing that on this
We might have to see if we could set up something with Earl and them. Like, just
cool.
get you up there and be like, yo, I know this MTG shit.
Well, I only play casual, so I wouldn't know all the shit they're talking about when it comes to Commander or whatever.
Luckily for Weiss Schwarz, you don't have to worry about a whole bunch of chaining stuff. It's just order of operations is how card effects resolve it multiple times. But I'm sorry, you go ahead.
Oh no, I have a general closing remark. But
you do? Okay. So we're actually gonna continue this next week, talking more about on the topic of cheating and just card etiquette, etc. Just continuing this line of topic. So your closing statement, good sir.
Okay.
Anything, Brother Phil? Thank you.
All right. 2 things. 1, it's really spacious in here without our computers. Thank God we have a break.
Valid point.
Second thing, We are trying to find out some software we can use to record some Skype calls so we can do some
I think I found it.
intermingling.
I think I found it. OBS.
Wait, I was talking to you about that.
I don't know. I had to mess with that.
Okay, if you have any other suggestions besides OBS, let us know because if we can get that going, we can do a lot more projects with other YouTube
Because
channels.
we're wanting to, like, some people apparently, like, when we did the podcast with Waifu Wars, shout outs to Bentley,
Link
awesome
in the
dude.
description below.
I know, right? Really cool dude. I asked him about that later. He said, "Oh, it's just a function on my." I think he said iPad or something.
Yeah, we aren't that fortunate to have an iPad.
I do not have an iPad, so I can't do Skype calls on there. I just
Yeah.
Actually, I have an idea, and it's gonna be really weird, but I'll explain it to you afterwards. But so if anyone knows any other software that could do that, I'm gonna try OBS and see how that does. You and I need to test that out at some point.
Well, I have it. We'll talk.
I
about
have it.
We'll talk about it.
Thank y'all very much for listening. Is much appreciated for all the people who participated and subscribed for the tournament giveaway.
I'm so sad.
We are almost at 100 subscribers. I am so happy.
So we're gonna do another thing when we hit 100.
We're probably gonna continue another tournament at that
Yeah,
point.
it might be a little too early, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll try
We'll
something.
figure it out.
We'll try something. Thank y'all very much. I didn't say at the very beginning of this, but this is actually podcast number 20. We have
Holy
four-
shit!
Huh? No,
No.
we got a long more time before that happens. But we'll be signing out for now. This is Kool-Aid. We got
Matt?
Mr. Joe Schmo.
8-ball.
and we will see y'all on the flip side. Peace out for now.
Get it in.
Bye.